My girlfriend was intimate with another guy and then with me on the same day while we were just getting to know each other. How can I move past this? Hey Reddit. I never imagined I'd be in this situation, questioning everything about a relationship I once thought was perfect. For some background, I'm 24M, and my girlfriend, 23F, and I have been together for a little over a year now. She's smart, funny, and beautiful, and until recently, I felt like the luckiest guy in the world to have her in my life. But a conversation we had a few weeks ago completely changed everything. Let's rewind to when we first met. It was at a mutual friend's party. She caught my eye almost immediately, and by the end of the night, we were locked in conversation, laughing and exchanging numbers. It felt natural, like meeting her was supposed to happen. Over the next few weeks, we started hanging out more, and the connection only grew stronger. We weren't officially dating yet, but we were definitely heading in that direction. Or so I thought. Fast forward to now. We were lounging on the couch one evening, talking about how far we'd come as a couple. The conversation shifted to those early days when we were just getting to know each other. She brought up how uncertain she was about us back then because everything felt so new and rushed. I didn't think much of it at first after all. Those early days can be confusing when you're not sure where things are going. But then her tone shifted. She got quiet and looked like she had something heavy on her mind. I asked her what was wrong. She hesitated for a moment before saying there was something she needed to tell me. My stomach dropped. I could tell this wasn't going to be good. She admitted that during one of those early days, she had slept with another guy. At first, I tried to rationalize it. Maybe it was before she and I really started hanging out. Maybe it was someone she had a casual thing with before meeting me. But then she said it happened on the same day we hooked up for the first time. I felt like someone had punched me in the gut. I just sat there, staring at her, trying to process what she'd just said. She went on to explain that she didn't know where things were going with us at the time and that it wasn't serious with him. She said it was a mistake and something she deeply regretted. She insisted it was before we were exclusive and that she hadn't been with anyone else since we officially became a couple. But none of that mattered in the moment. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. All I could think about was how she'd been with him earlier in the day and then came to me like nothing had happened. The thought of it made me feel sick. I asked her why she was telling me now, after all this time. She said she wanted to be honest and didn't want this secret to hang over our relationship any longer. She said she loved me and hoped I could find it in my heart to forgive her. The thing is, I don't even know if I can. Since that night, my mind has been in a constant spiral. I keep replaying everything in my head. The timeline, the details, the way she dropped this bombshell after a year of being together. I can't stop imagining that day, and it's tearing me apart. To make things worse, the guy she was with isn't just some random stranger. He's someone we both know, a mutual acquaintance who's been at a few group hangouts since then. I had no idea this happened between them, and now I can't look at him without feeling a surge of anger and humiliation. Did he know about me? Did he know she and I were talking at the time? Was this some kind of twisted competition I didn't even know I was a part of? She swears he didn't know about me and that it wasn't like that. She says she made a mistake because she was confused and didn't know what she wanted back then. But how am I supposed to believe that? If she was so unsure about us, why did she pursue things with me at all? I've tried to talk to her about it a few times since she told me, but every conversation ends in frustration. She keeps saying I'm being unfair by holding her past against her, especially since it happened before we were officially dating. Technically, she's right. We weren't exclusive at the time. But that doesn't make it hurt any less. What really gets to me is the timing. It's not just that she was with someone else, it's that she was with him and then with me on the same day. It feels disrespectful on a level I can't even put into words. How do I get past something like that? How do I stop imagining the details every time I look at her? I've tried to focus on the positives. She's been a great girlfriend in every other way. She's loving, supportive, and we've built so many amazing memories together. But now I can't help but question everything. Was I just a backup option? Did she only choose me because things didn't work out with him? She says that's not the case, but my trust in her is completely shattered. The situation has even started affecting my friendships. I haven't told anyone the full story, but I've hinted at it to a couple of close friends. Their reactions have been mixed. Some say I need to let it go because it was technically before we were official, and holding on to it will only hurt me in the long run. Others say this is a huge red flag and that I should seriously reconsider whether I want to stay in this relationship. And then there's the guy. I've run into him a few times since finding out, and every time, it takes everything in me not to confront him. Part of me wants to know his side of the story, but another part of me doesn't want to give him the satisfaction of knowing how much this has affected me. Lately, I've been feeling stuck. I love this woman. I really do. I've pictured a future with her, a life together, maybe even marriage someday. But now, I don't know if that's possible. How can I build a future with someone when I can't even let go of their past? I've been reading forums and advice columns, trying to figure out what to do. Some people say time heals all wounds, and that I just need to focus on the present and the person she is now. Others say trust is the foundation of any relationship, and once it's broken, it's almost impossible to rebuild. I've thought about ending things, but the idea of walking away from everything we've built feels unbearable. At the same time, staying with her feels like I'm betraying myself, like I'm forcing myself to accept something I'm not okay with just to avoid being alone. For now, I'm taking it one day at a time, but I feel like I'm at a crossroads. Do I forgive her and try to move forward, knowing this will always be in the back of my mind? Or do I cut my losses and walk away from someone I love because I can't get over what she did? Either way, it feels like I'm losing. Update. It's been a few weeks since I wrote my original post, and I'm still struggling to process everything. After sharing my feelings with her, we've had a few long conversations, but honestly, I feel more confused than ever. She keeps reiterating that it was a mistake made during a time when she wasn't sure where things were headed with us. She insists that she's been fully committed since the day we became official, but I can't help feeling like the foundation of our relationship is cracked. I asked her why she chose to tell me now, and she said she couldn't keep carrying the guilt. She wanted to start fresh and believed our relationship was strong enough to withstand the truth. I get that, but I'm left wondering if this honesty is for me or her own peace of mind. The hardest part is how much this has shaken my self-confidence. I've started doubting whether I was just the safer option for her, the backup plan after things with him didn't pan out. I can't help but feel like I was unknowingly competing for her affection back then, and the thought makes me question my own worth in the relationship. Every time I try to push those thoughts aside, they come creeping back, making it nearly impossible to trust her intentions. To make matters worse, I've started noticing things I hadn't paid attention to before. Small details from those early days now feel like red flags I missed at the time. Was she genuinely interested in me, or was I just the one who stuck around? These questions are keeping me up at night, and I feel like I'm constantly second-guessing everything I thought I knew about our relationship. On top of that, the guy she was with has made things awkward. He's not a close friend, but he's been at a few group hangouts, and now I can't look at him without feeling sick. I haven't confronted him, and part of me doesn't want to. What good would that do? But I also can't stop imagining him laughing behind my back or feeling like he had some sort of edge over me. My friends have been divided on the issue. One of my closest friends thinks I need to move on and focus on the present. He said everyone has a past, and it's not fair to judge her for something that happened before we were exclusive. Another friend sees it differently and thinks this is a massive red flag. According to him, the timing shows a lack of respect, and I should seriously reconsider staying in the relationship. For now, I've decided to take some space to think. I told her I needed time to process everything, and she agreed, though I can tell she's upset. She's been texting me to check in, but I've kept my responses short. I don't want to lose her, but I also don't know how to move past this. Another update. After taking some space, I decided to meet with her to have an honest, no-holds-barred conversation. I needed to know everything: why she did it, how she felt about me back then, and whether there was more to the story that she hadn't told me. She was open about everything, but it didn't exactly make me feel better. She admitted that, at the time, she didn't think things would get serious between us. She said she liked me but thought we might just end up as a casual fling. She claimed the hookup with the other guy wasn't planned, it just happened in the moment. That part stung the most because it felt like she was minimizing it. I told her how much this had been eating at me, how I felt disrespected and humiliated knowing she'd been with someone else hours before me. She started crying and said she never intended to hurt me, but she understood why I felt that way. She asked if I could find it in my heart to forgive her and focus on the relationship we've built since then. The problem is, I don't know if I can. No matter how hard I try, I can't get past the mental images or the thought of her making that choice. I've started to wonder if this is less about what happened and more about how it's made me question her character. If she could make a decision like that back then, how do I know she won't make another one in the future? One of the hardest parts has been dealing with my own self-doubt. I keep asking myself if I'm overreacting. Should I let this go? Am I sabotaging a good relationship because of my own insecurities? Or am I justified in feeling like this is a deal breaker? For now, we're still together, but things feel strained. I've noticed I'm pulling back emotionally, even if I don't mean to. She's trying hard to reassure me and make things work, but I can't shake the feeling that something has been permanently broken. Final update. After months of going back and forth, I've come to a decision. I realize that I can't keep living in limbo, constantly questioning our relationship and replaying the past in my head. It's not fair to her, and it's not fair to me. We sat down for one last conversation, and I told her how I felt. I explained that, while I appreciate her honesty and the effort she's put into rebuilding trust, I simply can't move past what happened. It's not just about the act itself, it's about how it's affected my perception of her and our relationship. I can't look at her the same way anymore, and that's not something either of us can fix. She was heartbroken. She begged me to reconsider, saying she'd do whatever it took to make things right. But I stood my ground. As much as I care about her, I can't ignore the voice in my head telling me that this isn't something I'll ever fully get over. Staying together would only lead to resentment, and that's no way to build a future. Walking away from this relationship is one of the hardest things I've ever done. I loved her, and a part of me always will. But I've learned that love isn't always enough. Trust and respect are just as important, and once those are compromised, it's almost impossible to get them back. Since the breakup, I've been focusing on myself, spending time with friends, picking up new hobbies, and reflecting on what I want in a future partner. It hasn't been easy, and there are days when I miss her terribly. But deep down, I know I made the right choice. For anyone who's been in a similar situation, my advice is to listen to your gut. Don't let anyone tell you how you should feel or what you should tolerate. At the end of the day, only you know what you can and can't live with. I'm not bitter, and I don't regret the time we spent together. But I'm also ready to move on and find someone who aligns with my values and vision for a relationship. Here's to new beginnings.